5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, BandaBanda. Kunjani, Mr. BandaBanda, right now?
Do you have to do the thing?
Do you, boo? Do you, brother?
We need the horn.
We need a Yeah, kunjani,
I'm good, man, and I'm grateful. I'm good, grateful, and impactful.
Banda mfethu, it's been a while singahlangani. I need to remind myself all the time that English, so it's been a while, us not meeting, in the same spaces, but before we go in deep, I just have a feeling that this interview might take 5 hours, because there's just too much, amongst the three of us. Me, you, Leroy, I think there's a lot of things.
Hey, Leroy, hey, I haven't seen Ukumalo in a long time. It's years for him.
Man, it's too many years.
It's more than 5, actually.
You see,
probably.
So basically, that's exactly what I'm saying. Which now, if we take all of that into consideration, it might really take but we're gonna try not for this thing to take too long. But obviously, without losing important elements to what we're going to be discussing. But to the people who don't know who BandaBanda is, who is BandaBanda?
That question is so. Banda is someone who really loves people, who's very passionate about Africa, and who's passionate about music and excellence, and also who's very passionate about giving. That's who I am. And born in Durban, in west of Durban, in a township called Gwandengezi, and grew up. Half of teenage years spent in a place called Eluganda, which is close to Enagina in Marion Hill in Pinetown in Durban. That's who he is, and he's someone who really loves music, people, and things of God. That's who I am.
No, very, very, very deep stuff. So then how did, I just also want to know your childhood, I remember we kept talking about it a little bit every time we were traveling, but one special moment was for me when I came to your gig, I think at Market Theatre, and you were about to play Esther No James, and I was you said something interesting there, you were like, hey guys, you told us a little bit more about your story, and everything. And I mean, you mentioned that your grandfather, and you even spoke about Shirwali. That's that accent, cracked me up a bit when I heard that thing. I was like, how Opanda betrayed the accent, So maybe tell us a little bit, man, about your childhood.
So my childhood was very it was amazing, but the only thing that is different is that I never had parents, no father, no mother. My mother passed away when I was very young, I think 11 months. I never met my father, I think until I was 21. So I grew up with my grandparents, and my grandfather is a Malawian man who came here to pursue a better living, and he met this beautiful Zulu woman. Her name was Esther, and my grandfather was James. And I think that's where the story comes from, because at home we grew up as Malawian in a Zulu environment. So that was my childhood. So my upbringing was mainly very in a Zulu land, but with some rooted Malawian Nyasa upbringing. So there's a duality there going on, So hence, even if you hear that song, you're talking about Esther and James, there's these rhythms and there's a communication there, of how then people coexist with their differences and know how to love and care for each other for as long as they lived, because it was as death do us apart, basically.
So then your journey with music, ne bass, how do you now find yourself, in this industry of ours, responding to the call of
Well,
music?
I never started with bass. So first of all, I need to mention this. There's never been a musician that I knew at my home or around my hood.
Mm.
So there was never anything like that. So I think when I was about 12, doing they used to, the church thing, everyone goes to church. And when you don't like the street so much, you start to be involved in things because otherwise you'll be involved in things away from church, because your mind is starting to be curious, to want to do different things and discover yourself. So I started going to church and started singing, the whole thing with me and my brother. I have another brother, Tulan, and we started singing in church, until they bought a keyboard. There was a guy who used to play the keyboard. And I think when we were about 14, 15, when I was about 14, 15, this guy started being busy. And, when there's one person who knows how to do something, they become,
Yeah, they become busy. Funny.
No,
yeah,
no.
they become unavailable.
Funny.
Yeah, unavailable.
Yeah, they start to have moods about what they want to do and how they want to do it and when. And they become, like he started
Diva.
doing that, and diverish, he started doing that, and I interest, and he never wanted to teach me the piano. And so I was a visual learner. So I was in church when there's one piano and no one actually in the community plays it, no one is supposed to touch it besides him. So I was a visual learner, and so when he's playing, I used to look at what he was doing. And that's how I started to play the piano, the keyboard, actually, not doing the piano. And one time he was not there doing his own thing. And me, I started doing the thing. Yeah, I saw that he did this. So my ear was, I didn't know at that time that my ear was strong, but, and then they're like, oh, you can play. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I got to start,
Then now the move to the bass, you're on Ibenja. How was that move?
So the story doesn't go to the bass. Then there was a guy called Vincent who what's Leroy, Vincent Mtetwa. We have Vincent Mtetwa, who came to my hood when they were doing a conference, and he was playing a keyboard and he was playing ingoma. Joe Dalama changes, like I didn't know how much changes that time, but I was playing things. I'm like, these things, I hear them on albums. How is this guy doing this? And then I asked him, how does he get to do this thing? And I think at that time I was doing grade 10, which was standard 8 in our times. And he said, no, they study music. He's studying music. I'm like, I think I was doing first year or bridging that time. First year, his first year in school. And then I asked him, he's like, yeah, I studied music. And I was like, damn, this is what I want to do. So I went, when I finished my matric, I told my grandmother, which I want to study music. And the question she asked me, and this is very important for people to understand on how far I come with this music thing. My grandmother asked me, or my family asked me, if it's going to make me happy. And then I said yes, and then she said, go for it, if it's going to make you happy. So I never started doing this thing for money. I didn't know there was going to be money. So I went to school, Natal Tech. That's where I met Abo Ngubek, Abo Nduduzo, like Abo Fundi, them things, everyone was there. And I started playing piano. I got bored because obviously from grade 10, 2 years, I had learned to play all the keys because I didn't know there was transpose. So was singing. Yeah, I didn't know there was something called transpose. So when they said practice so the best ear training, and got there, I could play all the keys, and then they were starting me all do re mi fa sol la ti do. I got bored. I was like, yo, I know all these things they are trying to teach me. Because remember, I was a visual person. So when someone is showing me something on the piano, I used to get it quickly. So I used to get bored and I started, Then I went to, and then I said, piano, I can always do piano. And then I went to study, or rather I changed to drums.
Mm.
As the drummers, guys, I can tell you for sure that drums kick my ass.
But you still have them inside.
Yeah, the rhythm is there. So I not because they kick my ass, it's because I couldn't practice because I'm used to learning things quickly. And my drums it's a combination thing. It's fun in combat. I mean, I'm living a soft life. And
the right target market. Yeah.
I'm in. It was only Roy will tell you by the time we got there. Me, I was
listen.
Me, I was always living a soft life.
Yeah.
Me, I was living a soft life, guys, those years. So and I was passionate about music, so I decided to do the drums. And then when I was doing the drums, Umondli Ngobo, the producer right now, the singer, he asked me to write a song for a master student who was doing something at UKZN. Yeah, so he asked me to do a song for someone because I was already good when it comes to African music. Because at home they never used to play American music, so the only music I could hear was on Uko's FM.
Okay.
So that's all I knew. So and obviously my blood also was very like African. And then so when I was there, and then I wrote some music for this master student. Remember, it's my first year at school, so already Umonje discovered I'm good when it comes to African music. And then I wrote this song. So I played the keys on it. I played the hook. And then I called a drummer called Rupina Kumalo, who used to play with me in the band, a gospel band I was playing with. But the gospel band that I was playing traditional. Traditional gospel is like Maskandi gospel. I don't know how to explain that, but it's Maskandi gospel, not what they call traditional now, where they sing choruses. We used to compose music and do traditional. And the name of the group was called MCP. MCP. Yeah, MCP. And then I used to play those keyboards. But now the problem is that the bass line was the baseline in African music is the melody I need. And that's the strongest parts that I needed to be strong. And at school, I couldn't find people that were able to play that bass line I was trying, because everyone was playing that swing thing.
Sure.
And then that thing was, So what I did is that I asked Nduduzo to play the keyboard. So I taught him Nduduzo Makatin to play these lines, or the way I was hearing the keyboards. And mind you, that time I was ahead of Nduduzo when it comes to piano. I was always ahead before I left piano, because we always laugh about it now. And Nduduzo is a hard worker and is like one of the most amazing piano players right now. And I always say, if I continue with piano, my brother, you know, I'll be calling you nicely. But he was very passionate about piano. So we learned that. So that's how I started to play bass. Because there was no one else to do it. So I had to play it myself, because it was more of a feeling thing. It's not even about notes. It's the feeling, the way it feels. And the bass thing started like that. And then when I went to the next semester, and everyone saw me playing bass on that recital of that master student, from there, no one wanted to see me play anything else.
Okay, so it was
always bass.
By popular demand.
Popular demand. Because the feel was there. Remember, I started with piano, so the harmony was there, the rhythm was there. And there was just feel now, like the way I feel. So the authenticity of who I was came through, and it was love at first sight.
All right. So I don't know, Leroy, if you want to come in. It looks like that network there is not playing nicely with you. How's it? How are you feeling?
I can hear everything.
Okay, you can hear everything. All right, cool. Okay, I'll just ask one more question and then I'll give it over to you.
No problem.
Yeah, so Banda, again, another thing I needed to find out from you, Uguti, what influenced your musical approach, and were you always understood by other musicians?
No, so guys. Oh man, it's making me emotional because like my journey of music is very tricky because everything that is happening now is something I used to talk about 20 years ago. And no one understood Only Roy knows this. And no one understood me. And it's been that journey of trying to say, guys, this is who I am. This is what I'm trying to do. And so basically, my musical journey has always been individualistic, where I was always motivated by how I feel and how it feels, And remember that I grew up with my grandmother and grandfather. I didn't mention that they were not educated. Maybe Ikaza. In Zulu, they call them Ikaza, people that never went to school. So my approach to everything that I am is how it feels and how authentic it is, So when it comes to music, that's all I used to use. And I was very passionate and vocal. So at school, I remember I used to be honest to everything. So when someone says, hey, this is great, I would say, no, it's not great. It's okay. And
it's okay.
And I was never liked for that. So I had to adjust because, I come from an honest place. My home was an honest place. So suddenly I have to adjust to people, so I was never liked for that. I was never liked because I never knew famous American R&B artists. I was never liked because those things never fazed me. I was always like, I love my African music. I love something that felt like it was connecting to my core being, my being, meaning my whole self, so I had it hard. I had it very, very hard, I had it hard. The fortunate thing is that the older people understood me better. That's how I got to work with other musicians, because they understood me better, because they had gone through the phase of trying to be something else. But I mean, I was already there from a young age, so I was never trying to be anything. But my peers, I never used to get gigs. No one used to book me for anything.
Yo, Leroy, jump in.
In fact, no,
it's fine.
So I guess that's where you got that love for polyrhythms and all these awkward rhythms in playing.
No, I never got it there. It's who I am. The rhythm is me. I never got to learn that.
Yeah, you're just expressing
it. Remember,
it was within.
Me, I was expressing it. It was within, and then people, they didn't like it because they couldn't understand on how it fitted in whatever they were doing. And me, I could see, Gucci, if people don't understand something, they reject it. That's how human nature is most of the time. So them rejecting who I was, they rejected my playing, they rejected my ideas, they rejected everything I was, And that's when I got to understand that I need to stand on my own and be firm and continuously do that. So it's
sorry to cut you off there, but in your journey in music here in Durban, what was that one biggest moment that made you visible in all other artists, seeing that this is Banda and this is how Banda plays?
Obviously, at school, I was always different. Schooling was always different. But when I started to work first of all, I must say that everyone wanted to do anything that's African. They used to call me. But that time, they used to, the African, jazz was like an elitist thing. That's why I always say, Lente jazz is amazing, but the way it was start like communicated most of the time was elitist, you know. And then when I think when we started working with, we created a band we mean Unduduzo Makhathini, before kwakukhona konje bani umzimela ubonga mzimela. Ubonga mzimela, we had a band esasibheka upende kwathu simamele, and then we used to isinger yethu kwaku Andile Mseleko.
Oh,
yeah, and then later on Upaki came to be the drummer for that band because he was amazing also, but he also understood jazz. So when he wanted to do jazz, he was also ahead in jazz, also ahead on African. So it was like a good, I think that band made us to be known in Durban and introduced us to a lot of musicians, especially other musicians, and all, like, because we could play jazz and also play African music. So from Tayo Amlalekwa, like complicated things which are African. People don't know this about Nduduzo. Nduduzo could play anything. Like he used to play like anything that's from jazz, American jazz to South African jazz. And Nopaki was also the same. Gospel, Nduduzo is amazing on gospel. Amazing, amazing, amazing. I think no one comes close. Even now, I tell you, gospel, Nduduzo, you don't even know, like, yo, don't even go there.
Bazokubulala abantu bazothi yabona lo muntu usenomngani bakhe la.
I'm not talking about umngani. I'm a truthful person.
Yeah, you're honest. Yeah,
I'm honest to the. Yeah, I'm honest. I'm honest. I'm telling you from what it was. So that's how I think. Leroy, I think you got it there. I think that's when we started doing gigs up at Center. We started doing gigs at the Reverse. We used to get booked a lot, even for corporates. You know, we were the happening band.
Yeah.
So now your move to Johannesburg, how was that? How did you now? Was it a decision? What was it? How did it come about?
So the move to Johannesburg. So I was doing a gig. So okay, let me go back a bit. So when we had the band, then Nduduzo moved to Joburg and they started recording an album. So I was left with Paki doing his own thing. So there was a place called Zulu Jazz Lounge where I was organizing gigs. Yo, guys, this agency thing, you see how it comes about. I was organizing gigs those years for bands to come and play different bands. So I was the one calling bands, hey man, do you want to do a gig this? So I was the one booking people for the Zulu Jazz, but I was not getting paid. I used to love. So when I say a band, I'm like, hey man, I think you work there, and you know, I used to do that. So I had a trio. You must remember Zulu Jazz Lounge, all the people that used to go there. There used to be people who love music. So I used to get like a lot of gigs. So I got to play at the festival, Durban Jazz Festival as Banda. Those years, maybe 2006.
Oh, yeah, for somewhere there.
Yeah, 2006, somewhere there. I played a gig there, Durban Jazz as a trio. I remember Benjala no Kwabe. Yamkhumbula Kwabe, Leroy.
Kwabe,
He used to play drums. Yes, from Peter Marisbeck, an amazing drummer. I can't remember who was playing keys. I can't remember who was playing keys. But I had a trio I was doing a gig with. And those years, guys, I don't play bass now. I used to play bass then. I know if I can say, guys, I used to kick ass.
Yeah.
Those years I used to play. You know the thing, like play. Yeah. You know when you play,
like you there.
Philan will say we are crazy, because Philan is my mentor. So that time you need to play chops, man. You need to play lines. I used to be that guy, you know. And that time I was playing a 5-string, I remember. Like, so I used to kick ass. So I had a trio, and we did a show. And after we finished that gig, As I walked down the stairs, there was Fana Zulu and Lawrence Machiza.
Mm.
And these guys, I've only seen them on TV.
Mm.
They come, Ubrafana is like, hey, what the fun was that? What is that base? I don't know what I've done now. And then it's like, hey, umshiza base, meaning this bass is like a Bombay kind of bass. Where do you find this sound on this? Yeah. Where do you find this such a big sound? Hey, I was like, yo, hey, I don't know. He asked for my numbers. Hey, I was like, yo, is this really happening? And I was like, wow. It's like, no. And he started telling me, hey, Judith needs a bass player. Sibongile Khumalo needs a bass player. All these gigs I do, I can't do all of them because Praishu is taking me all over the world. And he says something so profound. The first day I met him, he says, there's no one who sounds like you throughout anywhere in the world. And I've traveled all over the world. No one sounds like you. Yo.
From Fana Zulu.
Imagine.
Fana Zulu. I'm getting emotional. I'm getting emotional because this was, yeah. It's I think, okay, let me take a moment. I think the reason why I love giving back so much is because I've gotten so much love, you know, from people who didn't know me at all, you know, people who never knew where I come from, who were my parents, like who never knew my background. They just gave me love because they believe in me for like the talent I have. And I'm the same today because of them. And yeah, I'm getting emotional. Yeah, so that's how the journey of coming to Joburg started for me, you know. And he said it was December 26th, obviously, and he gave me his numbers. He took my numbers and he said, call me in January, come to Joburg, come and see me. And yeah, that's the journey. So I phoned him in January. I went to Joburg. I remember I was squatting, being squatter, Nonduduzo, I think. I think squatting Nonduduzo. The first time I came to Joburg. In fact, it wasn't the first time I came to. We had come to Joburg. We used to come Nonduduzo to Joburg. Nonduduzo was standing in for Andile for a gig that was happening on SABC2. We were backing about Jabu Kanyile.
I think I remember that.
Yeah. But then the first time I really came to Joburg, I came to Sipa Prafana, and he bought me food, a baseline, and then he said, okay, you're ready, okay, I'm going to talk to Mamus Bongile or Judith and see who you can. So my first gig in Joburg was Bongile Khumalo through Financial.
Imagine.
That's heavy stuff.
That's a great plug,
yo. So Manje, BandaBanda, I was on Facebook. I put some questions there, and if you so ask people to send questions. Fisogute asked this question: when can we expect another bass clinic?
As soon as there's demand for it, I think if we can have people committing to come and see the bass clinic, I can do it. I need to have about at least 25 people. Because for me, if I do, like the previous one was nice, but I need more people to interact with what I'm trying to communicate. Because if I have more questions, that means I can share more, because some things that I can share, for me, there might be something that I'm thinking is not important, but for me, it's because maybe how advanced I am right now, I don't see it as important, So when you find people that are there, that ask you things, and I know this because I've seen when I do, like, I watch clinics online, it's easier because someone asks something and you never thought it's important to someone else. So I think if I can have more people coming to the clinic, then asking me different questions, then I can do a clinic, as soon as possible. I'm always ready.
No, sounds like a fair answer. His second question is, did you get into the world of pedals? Oh, no, sorry. How did you get into the world of pedals and gadgets?
So I think for me, my pedals, they were never like something that I wanted to get into until I started imagining sounds and possibilities. And I saw that everyone was, so I used to play Moog bass at Sondweni. Uliroy will tell you, I used to help with music at Oasis, Enumlazi, that was church. And it used to kick ass in my days. Before Bega, Nabo Msanova got there, they came after me. And I used to play gospel. Coxa Konabonto was on Bambo at that time. And I used to play thin bass and bass. It was nice. But the reason why I went into playing my pedals because I started wanting. In fact, let me be honest. The first time it forced me to get into pedals is because I started working with Zoe Modir. And her music, there's some songs that were recorded with synth, not synth as in like synth, they were pedals. I think Benjamin Jefter, I think Benjamin had used a pedal for some of the songs. And me, I'm very honest to the sound and how Lulu, we work together. I'm very honest to how the song sounds as the first, and then we can grow it from there. So I got a one pedal. I think it was the OC2. It's an octave pedal, boss. That's how it started. And then from there, obviously, because I'm curious, I started hearing on the albums. I'm like, oh, there's a delay on this thing. Richard Bonner's got a delay on this. Oh, things that I've never, as a producer also, remember I'm producing now, so I'm hearing more things. Then that's how it started, like hearing sounds and trying to look for them, going online and checking things out and starting to build on my own until I am where I am today. That's how it started.
His last question is, what influence has the bass guitar had, particularly for you in terms of music production as a whole?
I don't think of bass when I produce.
Dope.
I don't think of bass. I don't think of chords when I produce.
Okay.
I don't think of those things when I produce. I think sonically, for me, feeling is first when I produce. It's more like feeling. It's the feeling. Like feeling is everything. Like the moment. For me, the moment is everything. So if a note is taking away the moment or a chord is taking away the moment, I remove it. I'm a school of Miles Davis, so I'm a school of minusing than adding. Even in my playing, Lungin, we've worked for many years. I'm a minus kind of a person. I try and take away things.
Subtract.
I'm subtractive. My mind is subtracting. And I have this philosophy that I'm communicating to everyone who works with me. And I say, the way I minus so much, I leave space for people to insert themselves in the music. So that when they hear the song, they want to repeat it and when there's less, there's more to find because the spaces have more. I don't know, that's my philosophy when I produce. So I don't think of chords.
It's like a painting.
Yeah, it's like a painting. It's like, oh wow, oh this is beautiful. Like for instance, when we did a song like Zoe's song, the song you like.
Yes.
It was that thing when I started the bass, it just came like that.
I think it's crazy.
And I was like, let's leave it like that. Yeah, let's leave it like that because it was easy to add a pad. or add anything. But think about it, you have a bass with the vocals and just the shakers. That's all. On a record, it's not common, that thing.
Also now
Normally,
the moment.
It's the moment.
It's the moment. Yeah. So you don't want to disturb
it.
Don't
want to disturb it. No. So for me, it's
even gaps here and there.
yeah. For me, it's that. I'm a moment kind of guy, and I don't produce according to genre. That's another thing people don't know about me. I produce music. I don't produce genres. So if you give me a song, I'll just tell you like which moment is the moment. Because a producer is someone who's supposed to get the best moment into a record. That's why we call the record producer. You get the best moment. If you are producing a film, you get the best moments, best locations for the movie, so that the script comes out more. For music, it get the best moments for the music. I don't want to say this, but I have to say it. Composers now, they call themselves producers. Arrangers, they call themselves producers. Like not everyone is a producer.
Say it, my brother, because this is why we've got this platform.
Louder.
No,
we need
not everyone is a producer.
we need volume. Anyway, you are used to being hated, so I think let's just get more people to hate you if they hate you for the truth.
No, I can say this. Can I add to that?
Yeah.
You know how you know that someone is a producer? When they produce an album and it sounds like a body of work. It doesn't sound like songs, ideas. We have a lot of albums that sound like a lot of ideas. That's why I respect like Abantu Abanjengo or Ubabu Loestima. Tapelo is my number one producer in the country. For me, is number one. And then like Abu Lawrence, the people like, but for me, Utapelo, you know why is number one for me as unmatched is because it doesn't produce himself on top of people.
Doesn't superimpose himself.
It doesn't superimpose himself, and it doesn't produce a sound.
Oh, okay.
You get me?
Oh, what's
produce ama sound. Mofuna le sound produces sound, produces music. I'm that kind of a producer. I'm producing music, not sounds. I don't produce a sound. I match him up with Quinty. He's that good because Molalin album it's the same year, same era, but it doesn't sound the same. Same producer.
Yeah.
Because he's that amazing. That's how you know someone is a producer. When they can produce something and it doesn't sound the same. You can hear their touch, it's got this strong thing, the African, if you listen to the music I produce for an African artist, because I've produced for an American artist also. But for an African artist, it sounds very African. You can hear there's a sense of African. For American artists, you wouldn't even tell it was me.
Hey, Leroy, ngakuvali Leroy, ngena
mfowethu. So, man, I just wanted to find out on carrying on with trio yako that you started. Is it the same concept A and Z that sparked up in BandaBanda and the Crocodiles?
No. So
it's not a continuation to that.
No.
Okay.
No. So let me explain the BandaBanda and the Crocodiles. So BandaBanda and the Crocodiles, I remember I was talking to Tuto on the phone and I said, I want to record something. And I told him I dreamt of a name, the Crocodiles. And then I said to him, I needed to find out what's the meaning of this crocodile thing, and how does it fit into my life. And then I had to say I want to create a band where I call people from different parts of Africa, since I'm in love with Africa so much, to come and play with me and I will use all my skills, my production, my musical skills, like my production skills and my writing skills, and also my people skills into putting people that I've never met to come and play together. And then the project will be called BandaBanda and the Crocodiles. Meaning the crocodiles are the people that are going to come into the project are people that I liked, that I've seen play, but they've never played together. So I mean, I'll bring them together to come and play the music, and I mean, I'll arrange the music because I know their feeling and the way they feel when they play, or the way they feel, basically the feeling, the moments they can create. So I had to put people together and put them together and write the music and produce it so that I can create this. So it worked backwards. Then I went into my phone, I found all the melodies that I've been writing, all the ideas, all the rhythms. Then I called them one by one to come to my house. So a piano player will come to my house. I will tell them what to play. A1. I remember the first show, we never rehearsed as a collective. I call you one by one. Piano player, I think I called Johanna the first day, first gig. Johanna, these are the chords. This is what you play. And then I called Umthunzi Mvubu. Mvubu, nama melody. Ngiyamdlalela futhi. This is what you play. Then I called Sam Ibe. Sam Ibe, when was it? Dum. I just said go, no. Go. Go. So I tell him that I tell Ulonduzana, Usam, it's Esther and James, so when is it? Kunst, go tell, that's where you stay. Then I'm going to so I rehearse them like that individually, and then we went to do the show. And when we did the show, we're doing the sound check. I said, let's try the songs now, all collective now. They heard it for the first time. Sound check. We have a show tonight. We sound check. We have a show tonight. That's how we started the Crocodile.
Hey man,
crazy story.
And so I think I need to make sure. Yeah, Ladingwen. So basically, you know why I did that, guys? It's because I wanted people not to think they know the music.
Okay.
I wanted the feeling, the honest feeling, where the music is honest to the feeling. And then when they went to record the music, they had never rehearsed even.
So
what you hear on the
because I remember that's even with Thandi, so that's what happened, with you. You went to gig without a rehearsal. That's how you started playing.
I thought with Thandi, so for like Thandi, so 2015, ne?
Yeah, I think so. I think 15, yeah.
5 years, mina no Thandis. Ginga yeah.
What was happening?
So the first time reza is because you were there.
So manje mase sekufike mina, now we are raising all the time. What's the problem, guys? Hey, yes. You know what? For 5 years, these people are going all over the world, my brother, with our face. That's yeah, no. Also, I think right now I'd like us to talk about the agency. It's quite interesting that already you mentioned, Uguti, you've been doing this thing for quite some time. Even maybe earlier you were not paid for it, but now now it's coming back. How explain to us, what is the work of your agency? What do you do?
So I just need to take you like just a touch back.
No.
So in 2011, in 2011, I produced the album Joel Zuma. Remember, I got to Joburg 2008, 2007 late, I think October. 2008, 2009, I was doing Barnyard. 2010, I left Barnyard. I joined Tanito's band. And 2011, like producer Joel Zuma, I got him signed to Universal Music. Remember, I mean, I'm a hustling guy. I'm a hard worker. So I was interested in business. So I got him signed there. I was PRing his work. So I did Joel Zuma and I recorded him and all of that. And it was amazing. Then I started doing shows all over the country, helping, different artists. 2014, I think I recorded. 2013, I recorded Uzodwa Mabena, the bass player way, Ladies and Jazz, produced the album. Then I started doing shows. I was always doing shows, guys, helping musicians, doing shows all over Johannesburg. As I was holding La Pana in Melville, Yakumule Melville. You know about Melville. I used to do Melville, Sophia Town. I started doing orbits, until now, when I started working, when I started finding that I'm very good when it comes to production, putting things together and putting shows together. And 2019, I just decided to formalize the agency, where I decided to do more like guiding, label stuff, distribution, management, where I manage artists. But mostly for me, it was more about helping people formalize their business and also for them to understand how the music business works. And I was doing this because I realized, even today, when you go to a record label, from A&R to marketing, no one understands anything about music, but they're trying to sell music. So the narrative of what goes into radio and how business works is controlled by people who have no passion for music. I can't say ignorant, but for them it's business first. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm also business now, but also the music has to be good. I think of business, yes, but music has to be good. So that's how I started the agency. And right now, fortunately, I have the best talent in the country. I work with Zoe. I work with Zoe Modiga. I work with Langa Mavuso. I work with Kenan Meyer, whom I'm only releasing in next June or July, his album, which I produced. And Zoe's album I also produced. So I try and work with people that are already, like, I know that there's direction, what they're doing, there's something that we can communicate, so basically it's that. And other people like Berita have always advised on how to grow their brands. I've worked with Dabo Shui, Nomtekala, Kid X, I've worked with a lot of artists from all genres through the agency, but it was never formalized.
So I want to talk now about your traveling, because I remember very well all the time when we were traveling, there's a story about your passport all the time. When we go to Africa, there's like a huge story about this passport. Now I remember there's a place we left you behind, like in so many countries. And I remember us coming. I remember us coming to Idabugu passport. There was a problem with the passport. But the passport is not the story that I want us to talk about. But I remember us getting to, I think it was Ethiopia. And when we got there, remember the day we saw that girl who had a problem, whatever. And now you were going everywhere. And like now, we're getting to Ethiopia at the airport. Everybody knows Banda at the airport. Tell us, my friend, hey, how's it? Listen, he tries to solve a problem. But the question that I'm raising is, what has traveling really done for you? Except I've seen when you travel that, you build relationships, I think, everywhere. But what has traveling really done for you?
I think traveling, one of the things that it does, it opens you up. You suddenly find things that you thought were meaningless. to be meaningful because you see value in them because other people see them as valuable. Because you have them for you, it's like whatever, I'm South African. But you don't realize that you are South African. That means you are very important because you are hope for a lot of people. And for me, I always love people, and to leave South Africa and go to another African country, it made me validate. I remember when I was in was it Angola? I think I was in Angola. I've traveled all over Africa. I was in Angola, and I was traveling with Noma Musbongile, and there were a lot of African bands. And when we finished playing, they all went back to the hotel. I was a South African musician. They all want to go to the hotel and do nothing there. I mean, I stayed behind
and do nothing there.
Yeah, they like doing that thing. I don't know where you find that thing. We like being superior. I don't know. It's not a nice thing, that thing. And I stayed behind. I found the promoter. I said, "Can I find a way to get to the hotel?" I fine, you can stay behind. We stayed behind them too. And there was a band play. In fact, there was a guy who was there who said, "I must stay behind." He said, "If there's a problem, you even take me back to the hotel himself." Because he wanted me to see this band. And he was asking me if I know this singer, South African singer that he liked. I'm like, "Which singer is this?" He sings very well, beautiful girl. Hey, Sishobo, Lira was famous at the time. Lira, no, not Lira. The one copy, Lira, the one copy, Lira. The one Lira copy. I got to choose my job. So yeah, so you understand it. Napana, but understand music in India. But I lose my job, but that thing. And we stayed behind, and there was this bass player. His name is Ahmad Sabaleko, who was playing with his brother. You guys, this is a drummer's thing. If you're a drummer, please check out Felix Saba Alego. That's how it's Felix Saba Alego. I'll write it down for Lungile so that he can share this with him. Yeah. Felix Saba Alego. And they were playing there, amen. They were kicking ass, man. They were kicking. I've never seen an African play like that on that level, like on that level, live, And they played so much, and the guy kept on saying, "Go with it, go and play with them." They were calling me on stage because this guy believed that I was in their level, but he was not realizing these guys. I'm in their level when it comes to the energy that I project when I play, the honesty. Because we must remember, there's the honesty and then there's technicalities that are involved. And most people confuse the two. That someone is passionate and they're good, but their technical element is not at their level, So this guy could tell that my level when it comes to energy and projection is the same. But me, my truth, I know the truth. Those guys, the level of experience and the technical is too high.
It's too much.
It's too high. And I think people must understand, even here, don't confuse the technicality with your level of playing, because those are two different things. And I think it's another lesson that people must understand. Just because you are technical and you know how to be technical doesn't mean you're high level. You can. So I understood those things, and my level was high, but my technical level was not as high as them. And so I didn't play. And I went backstage. I met the guys, and the guy was saying, "Hey man, you must come to France," because he saw me playing. I said, "You are ready. But you must work more on your technique, because African musicians are very technical, guys." If you listen to Etienne, if you listen to Richard Bonner, it's technical as much as rhythmical, but it's more technical than any American you can ever meet.
Yeah.
If you want to learn how to be technical and be really amazing as an African, check African musicians. And this guy said, "You must dominate. You're African." And he said, "Stop checking Americans. You're African. Americans check you because they come from us. So how can you check people that come from you?
You check the diluted.
Check yourself, my brother. Yeah. Check yourself, my brother. Check yourself. You are the original. You're African. And he told me this guy used to work with Manu Dibango, Prahu. He used to work with Prahu, Miriam Makeba when they were there in France, you know. And fortunately, all of these people I got to meet and we got along. Manu Dibango, I met them on the road when we were traveling. And so that's how traveling has opened me up to be even more passionate about being African. And I realized that everyone who's African who masters their Africanness, they get to tour a lot. And they get to be world renowned. So that's why I'm not apologetic. You can play your American things. I know how to play them. Actually, I know how to play them at the highest level even. But you'll never know because you think I don't.
Do you think that our industry is doing enough to embrace new sounds and new concepts? Or do you think that, you know, we are being forced to follow the same template, for lack of a better word?
The answer is no. It's not doing enough because the musicians are not part of the industry. They are service providers.
Yes.
I'm a musician. The people that create music are not part of the industry. They just come for gigs and then they play or they produce for other people, and they are told this is what you need to produce.
So whose fault is it?
No, not in the chain.
They are not in the food chain. The musicians are not in the food chain.
Whose fault is it?
They are service providers. It's them, the musicians. They don't understand the business.
Okay.
They are not part of. Understand the business and how the money moves. Because when you, like, for instance, when I record the BandaBanda and the Crocodiles, I know who's the target markets, which festivals I can go into, how to produce that kind of music. So, for instance, if I was to release BandaBanda and the Crocodiles on a live DVD, it will go as hotcakes because the energy is there, the music is arranged well. I understand how to market it. When you see it live, you're like, wow, this is amazing. I never thought. Suddenly, they don't even say jazz. They just put you straight to Prahu. This reminds me of Prahu because of how the music is made. But my music is progressive. It's not what Prahu did then. There's a lot of changes. There's a lot of things that are happening that shows that. And I got this from Fanazul because he said, we've done this. You guys can take it higher. Don't be scared. Because when people do formulas for records, I get that they do chords and they do sounds and they don't do like a feeling. They don't just capture, maybe if you want to do like, for instance, right now, just to speak ahead, the music is gone back to the 80s. I know in South Africa it hasn't gone there. The music is going back to the 80s now, where you're going to hear those claps. You remember the claps?
Yes.
You know those big claps?
Yes.
The production is going
pop.
there now.
Yeah.
Yes, the old pop is going there now, but with the new sounds, all over the world. And most people, they don't understand that you need to get that feeling of the 80s, but put little sounds, but put new chords and new things so that the sound is progressive. But the only people who can understand that, because if you go to A&R, an A&R meeting with a label like Universal or Sony, the only people you find there's DJs, and DJs are not creators.
Sure.
Yeah.
There are people who play the music when it's being creating, and they only hear what is great when people have responded.
Sure.
They won't imagine. So A&R is suppose artists and repertoire, someone can imagine on how this can be progressive to what has been before. So that's the only way that we can change the music is.
Sorry to jump in, BandaBanda. You are raising a very important thing, and I want to maybe stretch it a little bit to maybe ask Uguti, isn't the same thing supposed to happen also with like compilers? because I find that the same thing is a reality, even when it comes to compilers, radio compilers, who are all DJs, and how they hear music. Yeah, how they hear music for them is based on what they're playing at clubs, and that's it, or whatever that other DJs are making popular. And therefore, when you bring something else that's not part of whatever that they know, then it takes them longer to actually tell if this thing is good or not.
They actually play what people like.
Yeah, it's like, they just, it's their perspective. Yeah, so I wanted us to maybe pull it some more just to
like
see.
A box.
Sure.
Yeah, but they pop in.
Yeah, and I this is what I'm feeling, So I just wanted to get your view then on it, Uti. The same thing that must happen, Guma labels, I think then must go to every part of the industry, because which then takes us back to what you were saying earlier, when you were saying that the issue is the fact that musicians are not part of the industry.
Yeah.
Okay. So when it comes to DJs are compilers and they are DJs also. So how do you then grow an industry? Let's go back to the business side. The industry is grown when there's a market. And how do you create a market? It's by creating consistency and a base. DJs have clubs, gospel has churches.
Churches.
Yeah, churches. The music that we do, jazz has small clubs. That's why it's grown so much in the past 6 years, because there are those jazz clubs that were happening. So jazz South Africa has grown a lot. But the music they only have festivals.
There's no base, yeah.
That's why it hasn't grown. There's no base for that music. It doesn't play enough on radio. It doesn't play because, first of all, that music you can't play it at club in because the energy are corner. If you see those, and it was a club in Balva, when it dance.
That's why I claim.
When I went back, so,
hey, dude.
How do you then musical conscious of Nagari clubbing? Musical conscious of Nagari clubbing. So already that changes everything. And then we must remember that the compilers, the only way they can see music is in the club. So now the only reference they have that music about most of the time music
true.
It's their friends' music, so it's easier to even because it's like a communication. It's like any other business. We say, man, I've got this track, and then he hears the track. With no, I'll play it tonight. You check it out. I'll play it. I'll drop it, and then he drops it. And people are drunk.
Yeah, the crowd reacts.
The crowd reacts. They are drunk. They react. And then it's like, hey. Then when it goes on radio, he pumps like, hey, my boys just got this song. And all their friends, and it's. Then the song is popular and it's but when you open up for like a song like for like a Umdali song on radio, when they listen to it 30 seconds we need to do I claim this was that. But he hasn't heard the song, so it's but what's nice about that is that we don't need them anymore. Radio is overrated. The only thing is that when you, Lungile, and your friends share, have you checked out Umdali? And 50 people have checked out Umdali, and them sharing that Umdali, the internet is the biggest thing right now. Radio is overrated. We don't actually need radio right now. So if you want to concentrate on radio, forget about radio. Start doing other things online. So by the time they catch up online, you are ahead of them. Don't focus on radio right now. If radio plays you, kudos. If they don't play you, for instance, we're doing shows. We're doing a tour now with Zoe. The songs are not really on radio.
But people are
as
singing
much. But people are singing them. When you get to a show, when we get to the show, we're shocked. People are singing word to word, ad-lib, everything. They know the music. So radio is following us now. They are the ones who are asking for interviews. And that's how it's always been. The radio has always been the one who are supposed to follow us. Because we are the culture changers. They are the radio. They are supposed to multiply what we have. But now we've depended on them so much. We don't need radio. They didn't ask. Without us, there's no radio. They're unemployed.
Yo, no, you're saying a lot, man. A lot of big things. Leroy, do you want to jump in before I ask my final 2 questions?
So yeah, 2020 happened. A lot of things didn't work out for a lot of musicians. How did Banda cope in that situation? You would say, okay, there's no shows, nothing's happening, nothing is moving. I'm bills up band and a lifestyle band. How did it carry on till this year? Did the agency help out?
My lifestyle was very affected, actually, especially when we couldn't do anything. I think the first 3 months were very, very horrible. You know, it was bad for me, actually. But what helped is that, I don't think I've made money from music. I always say this to Amachita, like Ulungile knows this. I have not made money from gigs. Gigs don't make money for us, guys.
Yeah.
Gigs are not for money. Gigs are for survival. So what has helped me is that I do a lot of things around my business, the agency work. So that helps. And also working with Zoe also. Fortunately for us, we released an album that was on high demand. It became #1. So it did a lot of shows. You know, we did a lot of shows on the peak of lockdown. So that really, really kind of helped. And also I produced an album, you know, and when you're producing an album, it helps also, you know, you can pay some more things. And yeah, that's for me, that's been it. And I'm also like my lifestyle is quite cheap, guys. It's expensive, but it's not a lot. It is expensive, but it's not a lot.
Yeah.
And I think to find many income streams within the music, and I don't think I would say in the past 4 years I've made a lot of money from music. Lungile, you know that with King Tai we don't do a lot of gigs, you know. Sure.
Yeah.
So I can't say that, like right now, 2020 we maybe did 1 gig with Tandiso. And Nikon, it wasn't the full fee kind of gig, you know. So it's not even like I would say gigs. No, I mean really.
Yeah. No.
So for
Valley Network, Leroy, Unobo Robocop.
They should have multiple streams of income.
Yes, I would suggest that. Spiritual, man. Yes, now it's fine. I'm a spiritual guy.
Yeah.
I'm a spiritual guy. Yeah, good. So yes, I would suggest that. I would really suggest that. Like as a musician, you must, when it's income streams, I don't say you must sell your soul and do things you're not passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
Me, everything I do, I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about people. I'm passionate about production. I'm passionate about putting shows together. I'm passionate about creating high standards. You know, I'm an ideas guy. I'm full of ideas. So I always do that. So I'm continuously doing that, being passionate. So I suggest you do that, but know how to make money out of it. Because most of the time, most musicians, Ulungile, I know it does it already, but most of them, you too, now a little, you're always trying to help. But all of these things are services.
Yeah.
And the only way you can make money out of it is then when your people that are trying to always ask from you, then they get to learn what the value is when you involve yourself. Because without their understanding, they will keep on asking, and then you keep on not giving until you give enough, until you are bitter, until you're saying, I've been helping. People are never grateful, but you've never said that you wanted to get something out of it.
Yes.
You know,
and so it's not their fault.
It's not their fault. So you must always try and put value on it.
But
find out what. Yeah.
Can I jump right in here? Because it's a very important thing, this thing of value. I didn't have it in my questions, but for some reason, I felt that it was going to come up. you know, because
Oh, yeah,
I
guys.
think, yeah, I mean, we've lived together for a while. And I think we also agree, me and you, I think Lana siyibona ngendlela one. Issue ye value, you know, ukuthi who is supposed, I think one of the things that I'm seeing is that we can come now and complain about someone who's not giving us what we think we deserve. But did we ever educate them on, you know, the value of what you are giving them? So if somebody says, BandaBanda, hey, I see you playing there at Melville. Please, I want you guys to come play for me at a party, because you know they're looking at it. It's that simple for them because they're seeing you at Sophia Town. You know, so now when you send that invoice and the invoice doesn't make sense because this person is like, there's no way Sophia Town paid this thing, you know, because we came in there for free. You know, the whole thing now, as far as value is concerned, I understand that we are supposed to educate people as far as this thing that you're offering, but I want you to give us a quick masterclass on this whole thing of value and what it means, you know. Yeah, so that all of us watching here understand the actual thought process. So if somebody calls you, because I mean, there's a question I always ask. I didn't ask it today, but see, it's coming up again. Who must determine the price? You know, for example, you as a service provider, a drummer, your bass player, they're asking you to come play this game. Who determines it? I always ask this question. I didn't ask it, but I feel it's important right now to also, you know, gule masterclass. Ye 5 minutes also sniga yona nje. Yeah, masterclass. Yeah, masterclass ye 5 minutes also sniga yona on value. I'll go see it nje kancane so that we understand.
So yeah, then they're very, but it's very simple. Let me input. So business is simple: input, outputs.
Yeah.
What you put in, what do you pay for? You don't pay for me performing on. You pay for my time. You pay for my experience. You pay for everything. Me being on your pictures. You pay for a lot of things. And who determines the price? Who determines the price? When you go to a KFC, do you say I want to pay this, or they ask you how much you, or they tell you this is how much? They don't ask you how much you have. They tell you, 3 choice 2. I'm not about the last time, but but they will tell you, they will tell you how much it is. I then say, there's no artist who doesn't know like what's the value of having someone in their crew. I artist thing I was low. But if they happen not to know that, then they should ask you, how much would you charge me to help me be part of this thing? And then the negotiation starts there, and then you tell them, this is how much I will charge you. And then you tell them, and then maybe it's cool, then it's cool. Maybe color, and then you say, hey, but for me, these are the things that I need. So if this doesn't make sense for you, I don't think it will work out for me. So the value is you understanding what will make sense for you to leave your house with your gadgets, with your everything. And another thing that I must also mention is that the price of what you are saying or what you are asking for is more to do with how much love you need to share with this thing. For instance, for me, I don't do gigs I don't want to do. Money or no money. You can pay me 10 million. If I don't want to do the gig, I won't do it. So that's where the value starts. Uguti, you only do things that are aligned to your soul, to you. But it's a very difficult thing. I'm not expecting everyone to do that. It's because of the things that I've done, you know, my level, like where I've been. So that's where I am now. But I would say do everything you do and do it with love. If you are not getting money that you would like to get fulfillment. If you are not getting fulfillment, get experience. Get a lesson from that. Don't come out empty-handed. Ungaluzi yonke into. So value is basically what you think you'll get out of it. So it can be money, it can be experience, it can be lessons. And most of it, someone is paying for it. Sometimes it's you, sometimes it's someone else. So get something out of it. So that's how you determine how you want to work. I remember when I started working with BandaBanda, he never used to pay me. And I didn't mind because I was learning. That's the price. That's the value. The value is me learning. The bigger value, you know. So it's all of those things, you know. It's, you don't do everything for, if you do everything for money, you never have money. Do things that will uplift you and educate you, and yeah, money changes every day. 1 rand was worth this today, tomorrow it's worth something else. So
hey, deep man.
That's the
Okay.
class.
Yeah, I was naming 5 minutes. I was so what is your dream for the music industry, Panda?
It's for it to exist, for those who create the music, and musicians stop blaming everyone else because we are outside of the music industry. We are service providers. You don't control. So for instance, I make this example. You know, my brother, we have I had a conversation with him saying, Wuti, by the time it gets to musicians, the price are decided. Who's getting what? And when I say price, I don't even mean prices when it comes to gigs only. I mean percentages. I mean everything. Publishing, everything is decided. No, musicians won't get publishing for this. They'll just come and play, and then that's it. So it means when you are not on those round tables, when these things are discussed, or no musician is there, will never be part of the industry. And I think that's why my agent is important, because the conversations I have with labels when they call me for these artists I work with is totally different. Because first of all, I would say masters remain with an artist. Already there's a problem. We don't want an advance. Already there's a problem. They don't want to owe us. We can record our own, like a signing fee. You know, signing fee. What do you mean? So all these things are like things that are, I think the industry needs to be controlled mostly by people that want to understand the music industry and musicians themselves, you know. It's like doctors, Department of Health being controlled by musicians. It will never work out. People will die. That's why the industry is dead.
Hayi, siyazofowethu. Ngicela ukubuza nje eyokugcina. Bese siyavalelisa ngoba hayi.
I hope angiphoxanga yazi.
No, hey, say right. Sokutshela mase sesizwa ngathi so hey, whoa, put whoa. Asinankinga ukustopana. So far sahamba kahle but sase-right. So but if you were to go back to like your 12-year-old self, what advice would you give Banda?
So you're asking me if what I would advise, because Mina, the advice I have for me is nothing different. Is to remain true to yourself, learn every day. Your gift should humble you every day. That's another thing I need to emphasize. Mina, my gift humbles me every day because it's beyond something that I can touch and feel, because it's beyond me, you know. It comes from this intelligence that I can't touch, and I'm trying to get to every day. So remain humble, work hard, learn as much as possible, and also unlearn as much as possible, because this earth is full of lies. So to find the truth, it means you have to know that lie first. So I would advise people not to be phased by fame. If you want to change the world, everyone who has changed the world had to turn against the world because we are not of this world.
I siyabonga
So,
I think ngasekudala sekufane nawo ubhale incwadi mfethu wezinto ey'njengalezo mfethu la slow sifunda la ukuthi ehle kubhanda uthini hey ziningi lezi
Hey, azithembu lezi zinto
hey ubhanda usifikele madoda hey we must learn every day and unlearn every day. Sekufane kufuneka ama-quotes bafethu kufuneka ama-quotes azophuma la
famous, you must learn.
Yeah, no. I think that thing was strong too. Thank you very much, BandaBanda. I mean, I truly enjoyed this session. Truly enjoyed it. We're now going to be running it with Leroy all the time, if his time permits. Because this is how we're going to be running going forward. But we're hoping that we'll get our signal right. Yeah. So before la then before to Saturday, Friday, Saturday, is busy record. But man, thank you very much. The value was just a lot. BandaBanda. From myself, I'm very, honored that you took the time and shared. Because for me, it's more about being honest, and having nice, clean, honest conversations, uncensored, because it's important. I think, again, as you're talking about the many lies that exist, we must also start to confront the lies within the industry, that we find. But for the mere point to figure, and you were honest about so many things, and you gave us your view. Many other people can have different views. When they come here now, but they can express their own views. But I'm grateful for that honesty and the transparency. In the whole 1 hour 30 minutes, I think that we've been talking. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's got to sit there. Okay, guys. So I must say, Nyabonga Kulu, thank you for having me. And whoever is watching this, don't watch it once. Because I also will watch it as much as I was part of it. Don't watch it once. And also be honest to yourself first before you expect people to be honest to you. So, yeah.
Thank you guys so much. Banda, it was nice seeing you again after so many years, man.
I hope you kill my tickets for Devin. I hope you kill my tickets.
Yeah. Let's talk about Devin. Let's talk about Devin before Svalelisa, guys. We need to tell people about it. The gig is when?
So the gig is sold out on the 29th of what is it?
April.
April, yeah. But 30th is there now. So people can buy tickets for the 30th.
Okay, we'll also share the details on the comments below. But Sibongeka kakhulu, guys. Blessings all the way.